Lauren Berlingeri, founder, co-founder, co-CEO, HigherDOSE. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You have to tell everyone, we'll tell everyone how we met, but just give us your background, how your journey from being a model to being basically the leading biohacker and beauty company for women.
Thanks. So my background, I was an international model for 15 years.
Casual.
Yeah. And I was a TV presenter. I used to have my own show called Woman vs. Workout, which I still love that show and that concept. It was me doing extreme sports that were normally mainly male dominated too. Did things like Navy SEAL training, NASCAR driving. I feel like it set me up to be an entrepreneur.
That would scare me.
Yeah, it definitely set me up to be an entrepreneur. That's for sure. I'm a nutritionist and health coach. Previously, I used to work at another health and wellness startup called Aloha, developing products for them. And I sort of discovered the infrared sauna when I was working at this startup. My job was to pick the brains of the most influential people in wellness, from doctors, naturopaths, fitness experts, on what kind of, ingredients, products, technologies, philosophies should we consider in our own product lineup. And, Dr. Frank Littman, one of my favorite international doctors in New York, pretty much told me that he has every single one of his clients, no matter their goals or where they're at in their health journey, do infrared saunas. And I was like, what's an infrared sauna? I had no clue. And I've lived all over the world being an international model, like Turkey, all through Europe, South Africa, Australia.
I was
Canadian, Norwegian.
Yeah. I was going to name the places because I've heard you talk about them.
Well, sauna culture has been so big in all of these different countries that when I first moved to New York, 15 years ago, I couldn't find a good sauna if my life depended on it. So when Dr. Frank Littman told me about an infrared sauna, I was like, first of all, what's an infrared sauna? And there was only one that existed at the time. So I went and tried this infrared sauna, and I was just blown away by the way that I felt. I've always been a big fan of sauna, but this is very different. Infrared is a light therapy. It detoxes the body, downs cortisol levels, gives you amazing skin. You sleep like a baby. And this is like in one session. So I was just blown away by my experience in the infrared sauna. And I just had that thought, every New Yorker needs to have an infrared sauna in their life. So I saw the opportunity, the white space, and knew I wanted to start my business around, infrared saunas. I met my business partner. She has a very different background than I do. She's more of a finance girl. She is the one that, reviews the contracts, the P&Ls, all the things that I at the time couldn't do. And we just made a really great team. And, the business was created. First, we had the idea of bringing infrared into yoga studios. Because, when you do hot yoga, I was like, why aren't we using infrared heat if it has all these other host of benefits? Turns out that wasn't a really great business model. It's really hard to build a brand, and, to sell a clunky, expensive infrared heating system to yoga studios was almost impossible. So we pivoted to infrared studios, and, we opened up our first location with friends and family money. That took off. Literally all we had to do was get people inside the sauna, and they would come out feeling like a brand new person. And, people would post about it. And we kind of joked that we never had to pay any marketing dollars because we made this like sweaty sauna selfie, very famous in New York at the time.
And very sexy.
Yeah.
Because you had the chromotherapy in there
too. The light therapy. Yeah. And, from the first location, we were cash flow positive. We opened up our second location in ABC Home and Carpet. They literally paid for our build out because they've been wanting to have infrared saunas for so long.
That was always before I met you, and I was a HigherDOSE customer living in New York. I thought it was always so random. It was like a secret thing.
It was so random
that inside ABC like rug store and behind a wall was an infrared sauna studio where you could go, and it felt like a little secret, a New York secret that like all of the people, because everyone in New York is hustling to, be successful in business, whatever it is, right? Their modeling career, their music career, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And this was like the secret to like unwinding. Like when you're in Flatiron, you just pop in, sweat it out for 45 minutes.
Yeah. The word of mouth was like huge for us. Everyone would tell, their friends.
But it was also really random, I must say.
It was super random. But it was a great way to get the locations open because we didn't have to like take on a big lease and pay for a build out. It was just
made it like really this secret kind of, it's like a secret menu type
secret
thing.
underground. Like who doesn't love like a secret underground spot in New York City? I feel like it
was like a speakeasy for
saunas. Exactly. But with that second location, we were able to, take on investment. We took on 1.2 million 7 years ago. And we opened up 11 locations with that. We were in Equinoxes. We opened up in luxury hotels. It just like took off like wildfire. And, I think it was like maybe 3 years into our locations that people would always ask us to do pop-up locations and we couldn't lug around a 600-pound sauna. Mm-hmm. So we found these like rudimentary like sauna blankets. I don't know if you guys remember Shape House in LA.
Yeah.
Do you remember that place?
I went to it.
Yeah.
I was into infrared.
Yeah. They were like the other people that were like in the know of infrared. Not anymore, I don't think. I actually don't know what happened to them, but pretty much like when we found that infrared sauna blanket, it was like super high EMF, bad materials. I think they like sourced it in China. So we actually were very good friends with Clearlight. They're advisors of ours and they made our saunas. So, they took us to South Korea. We found an amazing manufacturer. We took this model and we made it what it was like back then, which is our second version. And it was like, no EMF, no ELF, like clean materials, really great manufacturer. And we would just take them to pop-ups. And everyone kept asking us, could they buy it?
Yeah.
So we just started selling to like, our community through our newsletter. And it was just like wild how easy it was to sell these sauna blankets. It was growing at 400% versus the locations. So we actually decided to sort of consolidate the locations and focus on the sauna blanket. And then the pandemic hit. So that's kind of the background of HigherDOSE, where we got to, and, sort of how we pivoted into selling wellness tech, bringing these amazing wellness technologies into your home, making them accessible. And, in the biohacking world, infrared, red light, PMF, all the things that we do is super popular. But it's crazy that people don't know about these things. It's just wild to me.
So I'm obviously a super fan because I get to test all the things before they come out. and I use the products, right? So fast forward now, outside of the sauna blanket, you have red light mask, you have neck mask.
Yeah, it's a neck enhancer because, we always focus on our face and the quality of our skin.
Chest, your what do you call it? Your décolletage?
Your décolletage,
That's how you know how old someone is. When you look at their chest to be like, how bad is their sun damage?
Exactly.
So
you see the aging, or if they do like a lot of lasers and whatnot, and their skin's like so tight and Botox, but then their neck is like loose and sun damage, like you said. So there should be a much more focus on the neck and décolletage. I feel like that's your second phase.
And you have like a slew of not just like tech products, but also like ingestibles and topical. So I take your magnesium chill chews.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Actually delicious. Relax me.
Yeah. Yeah. We wanted to create a line of CPG, consumer product goods, that complement the wellness tech and really amplified the benefits of the reason why you're using the wellness tech and build out these rituals for people. Because it's like, what do I do before I go in my sauna blanket? Well, you should do some detox drops. What should you do after you get out? Well, you should hydrate.
What are detox drops?
So we created
I know what they are, but for everyone else.
Yeah. So just to back it up a bit, infrared versus traditional heat. Traditional saunas are amazing too, but infrared is a light therapy. It is known to detox the body 7 times more than traditional sweating, which is, I think, the most important big difference between a traditional sauna and an infrared sauna. So it pulls out heavy metals, radiation, and environmental pollutants out of your fat cells through sweating. It's amazing. Like sometimes you can see black dots on your towel.
I would go into the 11 Howard in New York City location.
Yeah.
Shower, go in the sauna, and then you would give like unlimited white towels, and I would like wipe my skin.
Yeah.
And it would almost be like shimmery.
Yeah.
And that was like heavy metals.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, back in the day when 9/11 happened and all the first responders, they were exposed to so many toxins and pollutants that they would put them in infrared saunas afterwards and they'd be sweating out like black and purple.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I feel like it should be a protocol for, firefighters and anyone that's exposed to a lot of chemicals through their job to go into an infrared sauna and just like sweat it out so that you're not like holding on to it. So the detox drops, it's just ultimately drops that help open up your detox pathways to help you sweat even better. And we have things in there that also bind to the chemicals to help pull them out through sweating, urinating, going feces, spit, whatever it is. So it's just helping, speed up your detox pathways to help you sweat more, detox more when you're in the sauna blanket. Chlorophyll has been traditionally used with infrared. There's a lot of research around chlorophyll. So it's a chlorophyll-based drops. And then we also have magnesium in there, which we have magnesium in all of our ingestibles and CPGs, mainly because magnesium is responsible for over 300 functions within the body. Those functions include the main reasons why you would use our wellness tech in the first place, which is detox, relaxation, sleep, beauty, all the good things. So we have different forms of magnesium in all of our ingestibles and topicals.
It basically gives you the tools to detox at home without needing access to like an infrared sauna studio.
Yeah, or going to a detox clinic. I mean, we truly believe that in today's world, with all the toxins that you're exposed to, I mean, even if you live the cleanest life, we talk about this all the time, there's so many toxins in your water, in your air, in your clothing that it's
like hard to not get poisoned. Like people don't know this on the level, because we typically talk about weddings and things like that. But one of my biggest personal passions is health and wellness, which is one of the reasons why I moved out to the woods.
Yeah.
Which by the way, for people listening, Lauren tricked me to moving out to the woods, upstate New York. She's like, it's great up here. I'd go visit her. We buy a house near her, and then she moves to Texas. So, but we do live a non-toxic life up there. And that's part of the reason why, because the stress of the city, the stress of the environmental.
Oh my gosh, like light pollution, air pollution. It just goes on, that I feel like everyone should have some form of daily detoxification in their life. Whether that's working out or jumping on a rebounder, there's many ways to detox, but the infrared sauna is by far the most powerful tool out there in our sauna blanket for detoxification. So
if you're listening at this point and you're like, wait, I thought I tuned into a wedding podcast. Like, what's happening? The reason why I wanted you to come on here and talk about what you're doing with HigherDOSE is because the number one thing that I talk about with every single bride or anyone I know who's engaged and planning a wedding is the overwhelm of stress that they experience. Mm-hmm. And stress is absolutely toxic to your
And the number one ager.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. It is. Yeah, it's really important. And I think that like brides see their wedding day as the day that they're going to it's going to be the day to remember. And you get these like amazing photographers and you do all these like crash diets to like fit into this like tiny dress. You just focus on being skinny. And there's just so many parallels I see with modeling world and, getting ready for your wedding. Back in the day when I was modeling, I also didn't have the tools and the resources that I have now. And I wish I had these things because I would have been such a good model.
I want you to tell everyone how you used to drink Diet Coke.
I lived on the Diet Coke cigarette diet, I would say probably for the first 6 years of my modeling career.
Which is shocking knowing you and your lifestyle now. Like, I don't think you've had...
I mean, we all did it. You have to remember I was modeling in the early 2000s when being real thin was like...
Heroin chic. That was like the look.
Yeah, the Nicole Richies, the Paris Hiltons of the world. For me to achieve that like size, like I pretty much had to go into like starvation. And I would do anything to just like curb my appetite. But I just want to say that there is no longevity in that way of living. And, it affected everything. My skin was a mess. I had cystic acne. My hormones were all out of whack. My hair, just like my overall like vibrancy went down so hard. And then I was living in New York, like trying to model in New York and just like the stress of the city and like not making any money. And like I had this like kind of wake up call where if I don't start to educate myself and take my health into my own hands, I'm not going to be able to make any money. And that's when I really, decided.
Meaning as a model, you just thought you weren't going to be able to succeed as a model, or period?
Yeah, because like also the older that you get too as well, the harder it is to model. And if already at like the age of 27, my skin's a mess, I can't keep the weight off, my body's inflamed, I'm drinking alcohol because I'm so like depressed. Mm-hmm. And then I would be on all these like stimulants just to curb my appetite. And like, I would say more than anything, it was my skin that really was my biggest problem because I had like a cystic acne for like 6 years. And I would just have so much stress about like showing up on the day of my modeling job because I wasn't the size that, they thought I was, the size that I was in my photos, and my skin was a mess and I was miserable, and it was really hard for me to keep jobs at that point. So I actually decided to study at IIN, Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and I learned about nutrition. And for me, this was like I feel so passionate about nutrition. I really discovered that I had a real passion for it and a knack for it. Like I could remember every podcast and, every like class that we did and everything that I read. It was just, I really discovered who I was at that point. And then I started being the health coach for Wilhelmina, and I started to educate the younger models on how to take care of themselves, actually.
Wow.
So really
clearly much needed.
Clearly much needed. And I feel like there's a lot of parallels also with, being a bride too. And it's like you put so much pressure on yourself to look a certain way, and you end up going to these like fad diets or starving yourself. And then you have the stress, and then you're not sleeping. And then the next thing you know, your like hair's falling out, or you look tired and exhausted, or you're so skinny that you don't even look vibrant and healthy. And I just wish I had the tools, that I have now back when I was modeling, because I would have been a great model.
Well, I think now you're a great model for like healthy living, which is definitely better.
Yeah.
Going back to like actually how stress is like the ager, right? And like you said, people are spending for your wedding, you're spending thousands on photography. You're spending possibly thousands on your dress and your venue. I mean, you're spending a lot of money, and there is that pressure and that stress, right? Whether you know it or not, is releasing that hormone in your body, that cortisol or whatever that your mix is going to be. And that can essentially disrupt your path to whatever your beauty goals are for your wedding day, right? The thing that I am obsessed with it sounds like an infomercial. The thing that I love best about, for me, when I'm super stressed, if I get into the sauna and I just get off my phone, I detox from my phone for 45 minutes. I sit in the sauna, quiet in the heat. It's almost like church for me. Yes. Like it's meditative, it's healing, and you get out and you just feel better. And the thing that I hear the most from every single bride is, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed, they're dealing with family stress, money stress, whatever. I want to look good stress. And they don't have the tools, right? Even though they literally could just go and buy the HigherDOSE kit and be like,
Yeah. I mean, on top of infrared being really great for detoxification, it also downs cortisol levels and puts your body into parasympathetic state, which is rest and digest, which is actually really hard to get from even working out. Working out can actually do the opposite. It can raise cortisol levels.
Especially if you're doing HIIT, right?
Yeah. And then your adrenals get even more fatigued. So what I love about the infrared sauna is that you also get that high of a workout that you get effortlessly just by sitting there. So you get all the benefits
that's what I'm saying.
of it
I'll
too.
be in there and I feel like I'll feel very relaxed. And then afterwards I feel like, oh, I just did a workout. I feel like pat on the back.
That same
I
high.
did something good for myself.
Yeah, because you're releasing happy chemicals. So, infrared's a light therapy. It mimics the sun's rays. And, when you feel good in the sun, it's because your skin and your eyes have receptors, and it tells the body to release serotonin, which is an amazing happy chemical for feeling good. You also feel satiated too. Like you don't come out feeling like starving
I need
or
to eat something. Yeah.
hungry.
I thought that was because of the heat.
That's because of the serotonin. Oh. Yeah. Because serotonin's produced in your gut traditionally, but you have receptors in your skin and your eye. And then you're also speeding up your heart rate to the pace of a jog. So you are burning calories while you're in there. And you do release endorphins, the same, happy chemical that you release from working out. So you get this feeling of euphoria, and you feel satiated, and you feel calm, and you feel relaxed. And using heat before bed is one of the best tools for having deep sleep. And that's one of the best ways to recover and look your best, because that's when your body does all of the recovery, especially even with your brain too. If you have deep sleep, you're going to wake up feeling well rested. You're going to be less cranky. You're going to be less likely to binge. And, I just feel like
better decisions if you're trying to, going through a slew, whether it's your work day or you're planning the wedding or whatever it is, you'll be clear-minded.
Yeah. So I think that, I feel like weddings are always sort of the beginning of, oh man, I need to sort of take care of myself differently. You see yourself as somewhat of this.
Well, a lot of women will get like Botox for the first time before their wedding.
I want to talk about Botox before a wedding too, because this is also something I feel very passionately about. I do a little bit of Botox. We talk about this all the time. I feel like it's an art form in itself, but don't get Botox like really close to your wedding because you look frozen. It looks too harsh. You want to get it like at least 6 weeks to 2 months, I would say, away from the wedding date. And you learn that from modeling too. You can't get anything like that, like just before a big job, because it hardens you. It sometimes even ages you initially. And you have that frozen look and you're trying to make expressions on your wedding day and you just look frozen.
Well, if it's not done right, and we all know, so on the pod, we've spoken about this. My sister-in-law, who I set up with my brother, is like the magician of all magicians in LA. She does, I would say she's like a sculptor of faces. The way she
does like tiny little pokes everywhere and it's just minimal amounts so you still have movement.
Yeah.
Which is so important.
Shout out. But she has a whole protocol on this because a lot of people right now, when they're like, oh, I feel aged, they do something drastic and they just go to someone and they get a bunch of Botox, get a bunch of filler because they think it's going to make them look younger. But what they're not realizing is the reason why their skin looks aged is not the skin itself is like aged. It's like inside their cells are aged. They need to like
revitalize from the inside out. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm very much focused on that. Being in the beauty industry now, which we're sort of seen as this beauty brand, we feel like we're revolutionizing the way people think about beauty because it's not skin deep. It literally comes from the inside out.
Yeah,
it's all
you're
about
pioneering biohacking
and beauty and
beauty.
We don't even know what to call ourselves. Like we joke about this all the time because we are pioneering a whole new category and we love the biohacking world, but it is mainly male dominated, run by white men. Yeah. And they're talking about goals that we don't really care about, which is like living forever, being the fastest, strongest, smartest. And we're just like, we just want to be happy. We just want to feel balanced. We just want our skin to glow. We just like want to be calm.
I just want to feel like I don't have 1,000 tabs open at all time in my brain and not get to that point where when I feel like that all day, I know my body is starting to like shut down. Like I get sluggish, right? I feel like I retain water. I start to break out in my skin. And that to me always happens. Yes, it can be triggered by something I eat that's inflammatory or, not sometimes going to the city, but usually it comes from work or mental or emotional stress. Yeah. For me, that is like the number one trigger of feeling that way.
Yeah. So if you can get on top of the stress part and feel more relaxed, you're bound to have more energy to do the things that are good for
habits.
You. Yeah.
It's like actually like being proactive because like after the fact, like when I'm already feeling that way. Yeah. Right. Like even right before my engagement party, I look at those photos and I was swollen in my photos. I was swollen
the whole entire like modeling career. It was like crazy.
I was like, I'm swollen here. And I'm not saying that I was fat. It's not like, I'm like, I'm worried about my weight. It's actual inflammation that was happening because of the stress, because of, things that were going on. I was not feeling well. And if you can build a ritual, right? Or preventative, I don't know if ritual is the right word, but like build in good habits.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's 100% a lifestyle. Some of my favorite biohacks are the free biohacks or the ones that you find in nature.
Give us them. What are
they? Okay. So by far, I think the number one thing that is the most important thing that I'm mindful of every day is light, natural light, red light, blue light. So there's a lot of talk right now with just, your circadian rhythm and waking up with the sun and falling with the moon. And there's so many health benefits that you can get by waking up when the sun's coming up and getting direct red light into the body because it calms the nervous system down, balances
red light,
your
circadian. Like sunlight in your eyes?
Yes.
Get outside and like get sunlight. Like
go
stare
for
at
a
the
walk.
Sun?
Just first thing you do, go for a walk. The first thing you want to do is instead of going on your phone and getting triggered by all your emails and then getting this blue light hit, it's an immediate cortisol release. What you want to do is you want to just like go outside, get some natural sunlight on the skin, go for a walk, get like fresh air, and just try to start your day feeling calm and restored. And that's what red light does. It's a restorative light. It's the opposite of blue light. You know, when the sun is at its highest, that's at 12 o'clock. That's when blue light hits because it's telling your body to release that healthy amount of cortisol because you're supposed to get shit done, right? So I also am a mother. I also am a business owner. I'm also a wife. I don't always have time to wake up and see the sun, which is why I really do love our red light products. I believe that everyone should have red light access in their home, especially if you live in urban environments, you live in the city. There's so many factors that are going to stop you from waking up first thing
like
every
literally
morning.
In New York City, you go outside, you can't
it's light
see
pollution.
The sun. Yeah, you can't see the sun because the buildings and like the...
And I think that's actually like one of the most unhealthiest things about living in New York, besides like the stress go, is just the light pollution.
And the Diet Coke and chain smoking.
And I also use red light before I go to bed too. Because red light does speak to your circadian rhythm, that's when it tells your body to relax, rest and digest, go into recovery mode. But it also releases a healthy amount of melatonin, which is what helps you sleep at night, which is the ultimate antioxidant thing that you can release. I know a lot of people take melatonin at night, but you don't need to if you do red light.
Can you take it? Does it help if you take it?
So when you use the red light face mask, your body produces its own melatonin.
Yeah, which is better than supplementing.
Because it's telling the body to calm down and go into restore mode. It's when the sun goes down, that's when the sun has the most amount of red light. And it's speaking to the body saying, okay, now it's time to relax, start to go to sleep. The worst thing that you could do is get on your device.
Okay, so this
before bed.
Is Jesse listening to this, my fiance? Because this is our biggest fight is my phone's not around here, but I think you were the one that told me about this, or
the
maybe
red screen on your phone. Yeah.
I have the red screen on my phone. So like after like 5 o'clock, I triple tap the side of my phone and I turn my whole screen red. Yeah. So that one, it's less interesting. It's not fun to scroll on TikTok or Instagram or anywhere when it's all red.
Yeah.
But I do it because like I'm trying to I'm on screens all day and it's my way of like, all right, not triggering my brain. But sometimes we'll be in bed and I'll look over and Jesse will have like a scroll. He'll be like, hey, look at this. And he'll just put his phone right in front of me, full blast.
And he doesn't even dim his screen or anything.
It's at like 9 p.m., full blast blue light. And I'm like, I'm being blasted.
That's the most triggering thing for me. Yeah. There are ways to hack being on devices, like Kelly said, like turning your screen red or using the blue blocking like glasses. Yeah. If you're like really into the biohacking.
The blue blocking light glasses, I get triggered because nothing against Dave Asprey. I know he's like a big, like whatever, but like he's always wearing those yellow glasses in his videos. And I don't know, they're always like this weird shape. And I don't like them.
Well, if you really knew what that blue light was doing then you would to your body, you would do it.
Do you wear them? Do you have them?
I try to just have strong boundaries around like work when I'm on my phone. So I rarely answer my phone and text messages.
That's why you don't have that many friends.
Just me. People just have to be okay that I'll like message them, 6 to 12 hours later on things. But you know what? Like sometimes when work is crazy and, things happen, you end up on your phone. If that happens, all you have to do is put your red light face mask on, because it's combating all that blue light exposure and, helping your body get into rest and digest, helping your body release that melatonin and help you having deep, restful sleep at night. So on top of red light being amazing for your skin, which is what you're for sure going to see immediately from using it, your skin looks dewy and glowing and
it evens out the skin tone. If I wake up and I feel like I look blotchy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
It's like skin food. I try to describe it like that. Like, they actually discovered it back when astronauts were gardening under red light. They would have like cuts on their skin.
Why would they be gardening under red light?
I don't know, because it's NASA and they like created infrared and red light, and they're ultimately like
they were trying to grow in space.
Oh yeah, plants. Yeah, because they don't have sunlight.
Oh, they were using infrared to grow.
You use
okay.
No, not infrared, red light. To grow. Like, when you go to hydroponic farms and they're all under like the LED
they're always
red light.
Okay, got it.
It's the same thing. It's like feeding the plant cells. It does the same thing for your skin. It just feeds your mitochondria, which is your cells, to produce ATP, which is energy, which means every cell in your body is functioning better. So they would have these cuts on them and they'd be gardening under the light and it would like heal so quickly. And that's how they discovered that red light was really healing for the body. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, I think for anyone who's listening right now and it's like starting to click because you see all these influencers now with the red light masks, right? They're putting it on. I feel like it's like so at our Loverly event we had in LA, we ended up gifting them to the influencers and I still see all those influencers in my feed. And like, it's at least once a week, I see one of them posting like
it's
them
just
and their.
So easy to put on. Like what we really focus on is making, these technologies accessible. So we made it like medical silicone mask, super easy to travel with. It has these eye holes. You want to have your eye being exposed to the red light for all the reasons I told you. But then it has 3 straps. It's cordless. You can walk around your house. Like there's no reason.
The straps, which I learned.
Yeah. There's no reason not to like have the red light face mask on every day. You don't have to stop what you're doing. It's often that I'm sitting in front of my computer with my red light face mask on. So it just makes it so easy for you to use the red light. And I think that's huge. But I don't even think the influencers know about all of the other health benefits outside of skin. Yeah.
It looks cool. No, but for me, it's my skin, like I said, will flare up when I'm under like emotional or physical or mental stress. So like it is that biohacking tool that like I need to be like, get off my screen, get off my computer and get outside and go for a walk.
Yeah.
Like I actually need to go outside. And then at the end of the day, it's almost like this is how I reset so I can fall asleep.
Exactly.
Because sometimes it's hard to fall asleep.
It's often hard to fall asleep. I feel like sleep is probably one of the most challenging things for Americans because of the amount of stress that we're under
and the amount of
blue
screen
light
time.
And yeah. So I truly believe that everyone should have some form of red light in their house. I think it is good for everyone. It doesn't matter your age, pregnant, breastfeeding. It is just like so healthy for you and does so many different great things for the body.
So you're running this massive business. You are married.
To back it up, I'm Canadian. I am not American. I came to the States on an O1 visa and I was modeling with Wilhelmina. I was with them for 15 years, very successfully. They got me Woman versus Workout, my TV presenting jobs. It was really amazing. I switched into fitness modeling because that was where I really shined and away from fashion. Yeah. And what happened is, I studied nutrition, became the health coach, and my career just sort of spiraled because I truly believe when you're doing something you're passionate about, things just become easy for you. So then I'm like working at this health and wellness startup. Then I have this idea around infrared and I start HigherDOSE and I'm modeling, but also, starting HigherDOSE on the side. And my agent did not like that because he didn't have complete control over my schedule, which is a problem in the modeling world. You feel like you have no control over your schedule. You can't say no to things. Like you have to just show up and be this bobblehead and be so happy all the time. And I was like, I had a message. I wanted to talk. Like, I totally outgrew modeling. And, I sort of got into a few arguments with my booker. And then one day he just was like, you know what? Good luck with HigherDOSE. I want to let you know I'm revoking your O1. Good luck trying to get back into the country.
He just was trying to.
It was a power struggle. And, he wanted to show that he was more powerful than me. And it didn't matter that I was with them for so long and, had this like great career in modeling. I was still modeling, but he just didn't like that he didn't have control. And he was not a very nice guy at all. But luckily, I was with my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, already for like 2.5 years. I knew I wanted to marry this guy from the very beginning, but we didn't really have that conversation. But I pretty much like felt the stress when I had to tell like David that I'm going to get kicked out of the country. Like we need to get married pretty much. So we like 911.
It accelerated what you were already on the path.
So 100%.
Fast tracked.
It fast tracked.
How long ago was that? 5 years? No, 7 years.
No, it was 5 because the twins are only 4. They're 4. They're going to be 5. Oh, maybe 6 years then? Yeah. Oh my God. See, Kelly knows more than I do. But yeah, what ended up happening is we, got married at City Hall. It was very stressful, but it turned out to be a blessing. We ended up buying a house upstate a month later and I was pregnant with twins like 2 months later. But, I never had the wedding that I wanted. David and I joke because people ask like, oh, how long have you been together? Or how long have you been married? And we're always like, we have no clue because we didn't have that wedding.
There was there wasn't
a date.
You asked him to marry you.
Pretty much. Yeah.
You were like, do you love me or not? Will you marry me or not?
I mean, it was kind of an obvious at that point. Again,
You're already living together?
We were already living together. Yeah. I was 32, 33 at the time.
Yeah.
And
which is young for New York still.
Kind of. But, I knew I wanted to marry this guy. We just didn't have that conversation because I was so much focused on getting my business going. Yeah. So I didn't have the wedding that I wanted to have. I'm still going to have it. One day I'm going to
with the twins, they'll be like 15.
Yeah.
They'll be there.
Yeah. But I wanted to do it right. I want to get married in South Africa. I want to take all my friends and family there. I want to be not stressed and, already have my house and already have the kids. Cause I think that's a lot of pressure too, is to have a wedding when you can't even afford a house too.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people make the decision. They make the choice of I'm going to have the wedding and then they delay buying a home. And, or
has that changed as of recent since COVID?
I think a little bit. What happened with COVID is actually that a lot of people knew people weren't dating because they didn't meet. So there's been a year and a half. There was all the people that were dating that COVID either pushed them together or separated them. So there was an acceleration of current relationships. And then, so the year afterwards, 2022, there was a big boom of all these weddings. No one could get wedding venues because there were so many, people backlogged. And then there was a lull because average takes 2 years, right? Before you get engaged to someone, 2 to 3 years.
And were people worried about getting together because of COVID?
People weren't dating. New people weren't meeting each other during COVID, right? Think about on the podcast, we talked to people, how did you meet people? Oh, through a mutual friend on an app. People weren't on apps meeting up with people as much during COVID. Bars were shut down in New York.
That's so interesting.
Mm-hmm. You were upstate, it was a little bit different. But yeah, it fundamentally changed, how people were
meeting each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, COVID changed a lot for our business too. I mean, I know
you guys went from being a retail business to a brick and mortar business to an online tech
overnight
business. Yeah.
Pretty much. Our sauna blankets 4x'd overnight. We couldn't keep up with the inventory.
Because as a detoxer, people wanting to be able to...
people wanted to detox and, all the things that we talked
about. Immune system, yeah.
Yeah, immune system was huge and stress was huge and sleep was huge. And ultimately you couldn't go to your favorite, infrared spa location or your sauna location or even your gym.
Gyms were shut down. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So I think it really accelerated everything to do with biohacking, holistic recovery, and longevity. Because before, I feel like COVID, everyone was talking about fitness and nutrition when it comes to your health, and even health and wellness, whatever that is, to now thinking about prevention, immunity and taking your health into your own hands, and
mental health too, because people being home, being on screens all day. Yeah. Think about the depression levels were all-time high.
Oh my gosh, mental health is huge. I think a lot of people got COVID and now have their hair falling out and they got vaccinated. And it's just all these health issues that have come to the surface where you have to take your own health into your own hands. You have to invest into your well-being beyond just fitness and the way that you eat. So now there's just this massive surge around biohacking, hot and cold therapy, intermittent fasting, grounding, light therapy, because it works. But these technologies and philosophies have been around forever, especially ancient wisdom. Those are still my favorite biohacks, getting.
Well, you were giving us your favorite biohacks, going outside for a walk, red lights. What are your other favorite quick biohacks?
I still think that fitness and working out is by far the best bang for your buck. I feel like if you're not moving your body, then you will for sure not be even close to the standard of where you can be at your health. It balances hormones, boosts mood, it builds muscle, which we all know about how good muscle is, especially for women, and delaying menopause and, osteoporosis.
We lose
and
bone density after 40 or something, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. But increased blood flow and circulation, detoxification, still one of the best ways to detox is just jumping up and down and getting that lymphatic system
or even
to move.
Walking.
Even walking.
That's what I did during COVID. I became an avid walker. I was walking 5 miles a day.
Yeah. But I think the epiphany that I had was that I was working out too hard. Back in the day when I was doing woman versus workout, I would literally run 10 miles in the morning and then go do Muay Thai at night every day. And if I didn't do like 7 days a week, then I would be like miserable. Like that would affect my mood so much. But in retrospect,
that was your only like form of like endorphins?
Well, I also just think that a lot of like the fitness research has been done around men, and for a male body that is fine, because actually men do well with cortisol releasing workouts, because hunter-gatherers, that's what they used to do for survival back in the day. That's like primal for them. On top of that, they have a 24-hour, cycle, which we do too as well, which is your daily cycle. But then we have our 28-day cycle.
And it changes.
Female hormones are something that I also feel like we need to talk more about in the biohacking space, in the health and wellness space, because you really need to curate your workouts according to your cycle. Like from day 1 to 14, that's your time to do your HIIT workouts, go on like long distance runs and whatnot. But from 14 to 28, that's like the time to really calm down, do more yoga and breath work and stretching and walking and whatnot. Because if you're releasing that cortisol and your progesterone's tanking, it's so bad for your hormones. And we need to think about balancing our hormones. And when our body's in stress, that tells our body not to have a baby, right?
Mm-hmm. And that's part of the reason why I think today so many women are having, a difficult time conceiving because of the stress.
Because we're living in this man's world of go, 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 our job's on top of it. Then we're working out the wrong way. We're not considering our cycles.
We're scrolling on our phones.
Cortisol hits on the phones and whatnot.
Caffeine.
So I feel like there just needs to be more education, especially for women, on how to relax, how to down cortisol levels, how to focus on recovery, and how to do things that really contribute to what our goals are, because we're not trying to be these like super athletes. So why are we training like one? I think rather most of us just want to have like long, lean, healthy muscles. We want to like feel energetic. We don't want to feel depleted. We want to have better sleep. We want to have better skin. We just have different goals in mind than men. And unfortunately, most of the research has been done on men. Actually, women weren't even required to be in studies until 1996, which is insane to me.
I know, when I heard that was like so wild. It's like the things that they're telling women to eat or how to exercise, and they never even.
Women have too many variables when it comes to testing on them because of our hormonal cycles. Mm. And it's also not ethical to test on a woman before she's had kids. Mm-hmm. So it's just so much harder. There's so many more things to consider. But the problem is that we got to navigate this world of biohacking. You have to figure it out on your own. Fitness. On our own, which is why I truly believe in community and education. And, I personally am a biohacker, but I use myself as this human guinea pig to trial all these things through the female lens and talk about female goals and whatnot. And yeah, it's just
share what works. Like, honestly, anytime I'm looking for a product recommendation for like a supplement, or I know that if I ask you, that it is 100% the best one on the market, because not that you're a big researcher.
I'm not a researcher.
You're so well connected that you know the right people. You're a curator. So like just anyone who, if you can't afford to buy the HigherDOSE mask, right? That's like on your wish list or whatever. If you want practical, just like every day how to live better, like your Instagram, you give those like tips all day.
I mean, I really am super passionate about this lifestyle. I live the lifestyle, and my community is undeniably the best. I know the best doctors in each field and scientists and experts. And it's my job to also research around the technologies and potential products that we are going to be launching. But yeah, I just feel like it comes back to it being a lifestyle thing. It's not a quick fix. And if you're
definitely not a quick fix. It's not like, hey, I want to like get in shape for this one event. Or
it's rather the opposite. When you go on your healing journey, you start to like unlock the different layers of shit that is like been going on in your body.
Yeah.
And it feels almost impossible. Yeah. If it gets worse. So we always like kind of text each other, because it's like, as soon as we start a new protocol, it's like
healing
shit comes
crisis.
up. Healing crises. Yeah, that's our favorite. We go to a body worker and then like your brain stops working afterwards and you like,
what
are
did we
in bed.
say? We said something, I think early in our friendship, where it was like, I was like, oh, you're like, I'm having a healing crisis. I was like, Jesse is over my healing crises. Since he's known me, I've been having like a detox or a healing crisis. Yeah. Which for anyone who doesn't know what a healing crisis is, whenever you start a new protocol and like, whatever it could be, and you start to detox, your symptoms sometimes get worse at first. There's like a flare, and that can cause like mood swings. That could cause you to break out. That could just make you angry, or I always cry. I get really emo. I'm like crying. It's like, why are you crying by yourself for 3 days? I'm like, I had a really good acupuncture session.
Yeah. I mean, you totally biohacked your pregnancy. When I met Kelly, which was 6 years ago.
It was right when you were pregnant. First time I met you. Second time I met you.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
When I first met Kelly, she was just coming off of being super stressed out. I remember
my platinum hair that was falling out.
That like she was going like a mile a minute, and she was just like slowly
caffeinated.
The smartest person I've ever met ever. Thank God you have the memory that you do have, because when you do get passionate about something, you learn about every single detail. And then I like text her like, what kind of homeopathic remedy should I be taking? But it's been amazing to see your journey from where you were at to where you are now, especially like getting ready to prep for baby, which I think first comes marriage, then comes baby. So if you're not on the biohacking train now or taking care of yourself now before your wedding, you will be when you need to start getting ready to have a baby.
Yeah.
Because you will have the most awful pregnancy of your life if your hormones are out of whack, or if you have a toxic load, and, whatever it is that your health issues are, they just get elevated when you're pregnant. So it's best to get on it now before you start to think about having a baby.
Yeah, it really is a lifestyle shift that I had. And the reason I talk so much about like my mental stress, and because that is what ultimately for me was super toxic. And that's when you and I met and became friends. You were like, oh yeah, go do some infrared sessions. You like gifted me some. We were working together on like, some creative endeavors. And I remember being like, wow, I feel better physically, but actually it somehow cleared space in my brain. And I think it was that hormone balance. And ever since then, it was like, that was like my first taste. And I was like, kind of like on that journey of like, I don't want to say it was a high that I'm chasing, but it's something where.
Well, I think it's clarity. You start to get like clarity into like what's going on in your body. And then you start to get curious, and then you have the energy to actually tackle it. I think the problem is most people don't want to know what's going on, which is for me crazy. That you don't want to know what's causing, your skin rashes or your brain fog or whatever it is. And I think the infrared sauna really does help with clarity, because it's downing the cortisol levels, increasing blood flow and circulation to your brain. You're releasing those happy chemicals. So you almost have this like clarity into like, you know what? I have some space to start to tackle these health issues. You know what I mean?
It 100% is space. It created space for me then to be like, all right, now what's going on here? How do I want to deal with it? And I think we all could use a little bit more space. Yeah. Like put down the phone, get outside, like get on a mat, take a deep breath.
Because if meditation's not your thing, it's really hard to just drop into meditation. There's so many things that you could be doing just for like mental clarity. And I always go back to nature. Go on a hike, go barefoot outdoors, get natural sunlight, put down the technology, question what's in your food and your water. Like these are great places to start for anybody that is like, doesn't know where to start in this journey. It's like always going back to nature and ancient wisdom.
This has been the Loverly Wedding Podcast. We are hosted by Kelly Khalil, produced by Shannon Dietrich and Jennifer Alvarado, edited by Terry Carmichael. Watch the podcast on YouTube by subscribing to our channel, and you can follow and listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, and every major podcast feed.